Okay, so first of all, thanks to the organizer for inviting me. And I would first of all extend my gratitude to all those people who have debated with me on Facebook and all these pages, because I've learned a lot of things from you. Okay, that's all the diplomatic word. Next, how to sack an MB. Okay, next please. Okay, first of all, we are looking at two different sets of political system here. You have what you call presidentialism and also parliamentarianism. What's the different one? You have the head president as the head of the state, the other one as prime minister. At the state level, you have governor or Menteri Besar, governor on one side, and then Menteri Besar or Ketua Menteri on the other side. Now, the real difference is this. Presidentialism try to practice separations of power to the fullest. So you have separate elections for chief executive and the legislature. It's been legislative election for your parliamentarian. You have your presidential election for your president. Now, in comparison, parliamentarianism have only direct election for the legislature, for your parliament and your dome, which then acts as the electoral college for the executive. So they would then indirectly choose who to be governor. That's the first difference. The second difference is that president and governor can be impeached for severe crime, scandal, misconduct, and so on. So you get into trouble. Otherwise, you actually stay in power all the way because your term is independent from the Congress. So they did get into some kind of scandal like Bill Clinton, if you remember. Or you decide to really offend your parliament like what Gus did in Indonesia. So why do you stay with your job? Now that kind of job security is not provided in a parliamentary system. So it's much more fragile because the legislature can dismiss the government with a vote of non-confidence, as simple as that. You can be sacked anytime. You serve as long as you enjoy the confidence of the House. So that's the fundamental difference. Now, thirdly, because the president actually has a personal mandate in him or her, the cabinet is his or her subordinates. So they serve him or her. They cannot decide and say, I don't like my president and therefore I want to revolt against my president. You can resign, go. But that's all. In contrast, under parliamentary system, the prime minister, the chief minister or MB and so on is only first among equals because they all come from the same house. So they're supposed to be colleagues. And what does that mean? Your cabinet minister are your equal. They are your potential successor, potential rival. So they can actually revolt against you. They don't have to resign all the time. But if they feel to overthrow you, they should walk away. That's the rule of the game. With all this, that comes to the last part. Presidential system can work with weak party. That means the political party need not to be strong. Because the entire system is based so much on personal capacity, on personality. So you don't really need to have a strong party. You want a good example, look at Putin. Putin doesn't need a strong party. American parties are rather weak. Now, but if you are under a parliamentary system, you need strong parties. Why? Because your cabinet are formed through the House. So that's a fundamental different logic. We need to look at this before we can further talk about, what to do, what is right, what is wrong, because nothing is actually in an institutional vacuum. Next, please. Okay, if you like a comparison, presidentialism is like boxing. It's really one-to-one, right? And do not think that boxer is on his own. Boxer would actually have a team, his manager, his promoter, what they call second man, trainers, and all those things. But these people are actually his staff. He can sack them anytime. Because people go to watch a boxer for him, not for the team behind that. You don't see those people. In comparison, a parliamentary system is like a football match. So you have captain, but captain is part of the team. And that's why we talk about cabinet system having collective responsibility. They are collectively responsible to the electorate, to the House, and then later to the electorate. Because in a team, you cannot have a lone ranger, even as a single person. You can't have someone just kick the football the way he wants it, right? You need to play with the team. More so if the person is a captain. So that's the basic analogy, if you like. Next, please. So how do we sack MB? There are two misperceptions, I think, that must first be addressed. The first misperception is that a chief government, a chief executive under a parliamentary system, needs to commit some crimes or misconduct to be sacked. That's not true for parliamentary system. It's true for presidential system, not for parliamentary system. The only crime you need to commit is that you lose the confidence of your colleagues. That's all. So in other words, is that if you are under a presidential system, you get impeached. That basically end of your political life. It's very disgraceful. But in a parliamentary system, you can choose to bow out and say, I retire from now on, or you can just stay on. It just shows that you lose the confidence at this moment of time. Second thing is that to sack a chief executive under a parliamentary system, you need to go through a vote of no confidence. That again is not true because it is a system based on party. So in a proper Westminster system, you have what we call a party caucus. Your parliamentarian form the first electorate for you. If they tell you to go, you go. If only when that breaks down, because caucus have no legal binding power. They are outside the state. Is supplementary to the former political system. Political parties are not officially part of your parliament. So, but people, why does the system work? Because people are gentlemen. So there's rules. You obey the rule. So if people show the way out, you bow. That's all. But when that breaks down, then of course, or let's say you are hating a party, or you hate or a coalition, and the party or coalition breaks up, then of course, probably you need a vote of no confidence. Because that's an abnormal situation. Extraordinary situation. Next. Okay, this is Margaret Thatcher. I read for you. Having consulted widely among colleagues, I have concluded that the unity of the party and the prospect of victory in a general election will be better served if I stood down to enable cabinet colleagues to enter the ballot for the leadership. I should like to thank all those in cabinet and outside who have given me such dedicated support. That's what she said. What happened to her? She led her party to win 3 elections. Then in 1991, because of the unpopular poll tax, because of the divisions over Europe, a former minister challenged her. So by the party's rule, they have to call a convention, they call a meeting by all Tory parliamentarians. She actually beat the challenger, but was not with a big enough margin. The rules say that the margin needs to be 15% ahead of the rival. Basically, you're so strong that no one is questioning you. So by not winning that margin in the first round, she had to go for the second round. And that would be a situation that people would be pondering whether to come in or not, because you can actually have new candidates. So it's a very subtle way for you to tell how popular you are. She could stay on. she actually vowed to fight it on. But after some consideration, she felt that, no, that's too much. She doesn't need to. And she said, I'll put my party first. And she resigned. So she resigned, and two of her cabinet ministers came in to fight against the initial challenger. And one of them won, John Major. That's how she make way for her allies. When she felt that she could not actually win an outright majority, she just let them go. Fantastic. Next. I think I can keep my time. Yeah, because I'm training myself to speak more briefly. Okay, this is Kevin Rudd, and Kevin Rudd said this: I'll be dedicating my every effort to ensure the re-election of this Australian Labor government. It's a good government with a good program, and it deserves re-election for all the reasons I have listed before. You should read his resignation speech. It's a long list to boast about what I have done. I think it's good for people who are in similar position. And many more besides. And they are a good team. They are a good team, led by a good Prime Minister. I mean Julia, not me. Julia was his deputy. Deputy Prime Minister one day turned around and tell the boss and say, I'm going to challenge you. Why? Over a tax issue again, this time it's mining tax. He was not popular, and the party started to worry and say that under his leadership, Labour might lose the next election. So his deputy challenged him, and by right, there would be a contest, so there would be a poll among Labour parliamentarians. The counting was that he would lose by 70-something, 72 over 31, somewhere around that. 71 over 31, that kind of magic. And he decided that there's no need to go through that. So before the poll was called, he tendered his resignation. So what happened? They still went for the meeting. Ballot were cast, but there was only one candidate. So Julia Gillard won uncontested. Went on for 3 years. He later came back and challenged, and in between she actually tried to challenge. He challenged her once, lost. The second time someone proposed for a challenge between him and her, he declined, knowing well that he was not strong enough to throw her out. And then in the run after next elections, Julia Gillard felt that she needed a vote of confidence. So she declared a party leadership contest. Basically to say, now who among you that are not happy with me, basically it's only him, come and run against me. And she put it down and said, whoever loses this party election, we should retire. She lost, she retired immediately from politics. He went on to lead the party, to be the Prime Minister for a few months, I think 2 or 3 months, then lost it. Next. So that's how things work. Okay, let's explain a little bit here, a little bit of political science, bear with me. Okay. This is how parliamentary government works, the straightforward model. You have the voters. I put the state here, just make it clearer later when you can see. Through election, they vote in the state legislature, of which the red one represents the parliamentary party of the ruling party. That means the parliamentarian from the ruling party. Right? So, with confidence, then they choose the executive, but basically come from the red bloc. So how do you sack Menteri Besar? The way that people talk about is from the larger box, the blue box, right? That's no confidence vote. But that's actually a straightforward one. You actually have a leadership election. So if you lose that one, you go. So there's no need for you to have a no confidence vote. Basically, a no confidence vote here is to extend the decision-making power outside the ruling coalition or party. So that's really the purpose. So when your existing party structure breaks down, that's what you do. But in normal circumstances, people do not expect that to happen. And that's why you had Margaret Thatcher, Karen Rudd talking about standing aside to pave way for new leader to come forward to lead the party, to unite the party to win the next election. Now, why are situations getting so weird for us next? It's because, first of all, the system I showed you just now, their party is what we call internally created party. Meaning, party is an election machine for lawmakers. So your party leader is the leader of the parliamentarians of that party. There's no someone outside of the party that can have the authority to tell the party leader what to do. So if you look at British political party, for example, they have party chairman. Party chairman is a person like a manager that runs the party organization, not the one who calls the shot. The one who calls the shot is the head of the parliamentary party. So that's what you call it. It's a straightforward thing. There's no split between government leadership and party leadership. Now, but you have another type of party, what you call externally created party. These are parties that are created by social forces outside. They send their representative inside, and then they're supposed to decide. The party outside is supposed to decide what their representatives are doing inside. If you like, internally created parties are more of the right-wing party because they're cadre-based. They're not cadre-based, they're much more elitist. And then the externally created parties are much more leftist, mass-based party. And Malaysian parties are mostly mass-based party, externally created. So you do have a possibility that you end up having a split leadership between the party leadership and the government leadership. If you want an example of that kind of, it can turn out all right. I can give you a good example and a bad example. A good example is past in Perak after 2008. Because what do you call? What's the word? The commissioner, state commissioner for past Perak did not get elected and become the MB. The MB was someone rather junior by the party ranking. Later moved on to secretary, I think, Niza. But there was no one from the party to challenge him. So you pass survivor, no problem with that. Now, you want a bad example, look at Congress Party, not MIC, the Congress Party in India. Before losing the recent election, you have Manmohan Singh as the Prime Minister, you have Mrs. Gandhi, the daughter-in-law of the Sonia Gandhi. So to be clearer, Sonia Gandhi as the party chairperson. And they didn't get along well after some years.